Hi, Bernhard.
Hi,
Another
Carsten.
network video, right?
Yeah, we tend to use a lot of network videos in the Stretch Cluster series, right? Now, this time it's the additional cluster networks. And let me let me briefly explain why we are using that. Because this is not something that is in the documentation, at least from our side, but we thought that it is really beneficial to have. So we both agree that we would require this in a
Yeah.
stretch cluster scenario, right? Why?
Especially,
Yeah,
yeah, Bernhard, especially in our scenario where we
yeah.
only have a 1 gigabit management network, we really require it,
Hmm.
but it's also useful in other scenarios where you have s- separate storage replica switches
Yeah,
or where you want to separate your traffic, live migration, and other things from the management network to another network, right?
yeah,
And
yeah. I totally agree. And maybe on the next slide we'll try to uh,
show it.
repeat the same thing with a different view, right? So, but we are using it for the heartbeat, the cluster communication, because it's a very high bandwidth network with a low latency. So that's good to use it for the cluster as well. Then for the live migration and a redirected IO, this is maybe something that you may not think immediately about, but when you have your virtual machines moved over to the other side, then you have redirected IO and you don't want to have it over a 1 gigabit link, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
so we have two of them, which will be routed together. And all in total, or two on each side, which makes four in total. And they will be routed together. And as Carsten said, we are using a different routing switch for that. That's why we uh, keep the traffic in an additional network adapter.
Mhm.
And we are not doing RDMA between those two sites.
Yeah, we will do a special video about routing. Then there
Yeah,
will
yeah,
it will enlighten more what we mean
yeah,
here,
yeah.
and yeah, so we will talk about routing there. So show us.
Yes, yeah. So basically, this is the different networking view. It's the two ones on top, right? So also different IP addresses, different VLANs, because we want to do it routing, and it's much easier to route the traffic if you have different VLANs, especially from most of the switches I know. Um, Yes, and basically, our bluish networks at the bottom here, this is our 1 gigabit link, right? Which we will route, but we also will use, and this on top here is a 100 gigabit connection. So you see where we'll want to use these ones for something like live migration, for example, right? Okay, let me just go over to the hardware slide. So, as said, we are using the Mellanox adapters again, the 100 gigabit adapters, and we are creating just two other virtual adapters sitting on the storage switch using the 100 gigabit Mellanox adapters as we use for the replication traffic, right?
Mhm.
And I think
Okay.
that's it. So no routing, just the creation of the network adapters. Right. So I'll hand it over to you.
Okay, here I am again. If you watch the series so far, this is already a similar picture, So here's the script. It is basically the same script as we use for SMB and replica, the replica networks. So I will just copy this stuff here over, and it will ask me for the last part of the IP address. Again, it's a 51.
Mhm,
Then we have to decide in which side the host is and which network we
mhm,
use. So we here are the cluster networks. Bernhard has specified also in the video. We will set them
mhm,
on this host, and I will do that, the stuff on the other hosts after the video, of
mhm,
course. So then again, we do a network team mapping, and therefore we need the name of the hardware adapter. So this is why we get the Mellanox 100 gigabit adapter. And then here again, it's basically the same. Add a virtual network adapter in the management OS, and then we will give it an IP address. We will
Mhm.
turn off the DNS registration. We will set the VLAN
Mhm.
tag on the adapter. We disable NetBIOS here.
Mhm.
Then we do IEEE priority tags on,
Mhm.
so that they can be used on this adapter, because we use live migration, we use cluster traffic here.
Mhm.
Then we disable RDMA because it's inter-site traffic, and Microsoft doesn't allow in a stretch cluster scenario RDMA to be used for inter-site traffic. And then this is the T mapping. So let's just do that.
Mhm.
And again, it's 2 times. And the routing will be
Mhm.
in a separate video. We have to add some routes here, of course. Otherwise, our live migration or whatever we want to do with these networks can't reach the other side. But
Yeah, the only route that we have or that I remember is our default gateway, right? Which is hooked to the management
exactly,
network. So that's the default route for any traffic will go to your default
other
gateway at the
side, yeah.
moment. Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't have yeah, we don't have a site specific routing rule yet. I mean, it's just the gateway, the only one that you have.
Exactly. So, and
We
these
need to
routes
be
are a little bit special, but we will talk about that in the
mm,
routing video. So
yeah.
now he is done. If we do a get net adapter, and I always write it wrong in my head, there is a
Yeah, it's funny.
miswiring.
Yeah, then I would
So,
have a similar miswiring. Yeah. Okay.
so you see here we have now the 2 cluster adapters.
Mhm.
Um, and I changed something between the videos. So here was an Ethernet 7 and another Ethernet adapter. I
Okay.
renamed them to, they are Intel E801, 810 adapters. We don't use them. They are
Mm.
disabled, but it bugged me that we had still Ethernet
Okay.
something here. So this is
Oh,
nothing you have to do, but it's just to have a clearer picture. So
okay.
now we have our adapters, and in the next video we will have some fun with routing and maybe also
Mm.
some moving around of stuff, right, Bernhard?
Yeah, see you
See
there.
you there.